Today is Friday, April 22nd, 2016. My name is Chloe Thibodeau, and I'm conducting an interview of Mr. Kevin Smith. And just for the record again, could you state your name?
My name is Kevin Smith.
And how old are you?
I'm 46.
Okay, and just a little background information. Where were you born?
I was born in the Bahamas.
The Bahamas. Okay, awesome. So what year did you arrive to Houston?
I arrived in Houston in 1990.
2016.
I know
And
that's on the tape, right?
what brought you here?
I actually came on a track scholarship.
Really? So you ran track?
Yes.
Okay, so when did you first hear about TSU?
I heard about TSU in my junior year of high school.
Right.
So say 88.
88? Okay. So when you heard about TSU, were you like, this is where I want to go, I like this school, or were you not that interested?
Not at first. I can honestly say that TSU was not my first choice.
Okay. So what made you choose TSU? Like, why TSU?
When it's all said and done, my coach and I sat down and we looked at what TSU had to offer, the environment and what it had to offer. And it was what we decided to be a good place to call home.
Okay. So you went to TSU initially for track?
Yes.
Okay. So once you got there, what was the school like? What year was it by the time you got there?
I came in 1990.
Okay.
And it started at the start of the year in January.
Okay.
Came in as a freshman.
In the spring.
In the spring. Most people started in the fall of the previous year.
Mm-hmm.
But I can honestly say from the first day of class, the teachers at TSU took an interest not only in where I was at the time, but where I would be in the future.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so what was the student life like there? Was it very active? Were you involved in extracurricular activities or anything? Or just straight sports in class?
For me, it was just straight sports in class. There really was very little time to do anything else.
Okay. And what was your major?
I studied electronic engineering technology.
Okay. So could you tell me a little bit more about that?
The way I like to tell people about the electronic engineering technology studies at TSU is that it prepared me for what the engineers screwed up. So I came out of that program being a well-rounded individual. Not only could I build and design, I can actually fix and repair.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, I guess accompanying your major, what was your favorite course or the courses, if it wasn't just one or if you didn't like any?
It wasn't just one. Anything that had to do with my major or that was in some way related to my major was what I really, really enjoyed. There was one course that I had. It was microprocessors, and it was taught by what the other students deemed to be a hard instructor. I took it on as a challenge and I actually got out of class with an A+. So to me, it wasn't hard at all.
Well, everybody doesn't have it that easy. So I would assume, saying that you took that complicated class and you did very well, did you, gain a relationship with that professor, or did you have any favorite professors or role models or anything like that while on campus?
I would honestly say I had two. That instructor, of course, was one, but then there was one I had my very first semester, and that's Dr. Ingram. I can honestly say he prepared me for the future like no other instructor did. I jokingly tell my family and my friends that he would teach the class with nobody in it. So in other words, you had to be on time.
Okay.
And that's where I get my stickler for being on time.
Okay, I learned that today. So while you were there, I would assume that, you picked up a lot of things. So you learned how to be on time and you learned how to, I guess, fix what engineers did wrong the first time. What other skills do you think you learned?
I actually learned how to deal with people. I can honestly say not only does TSU prepare you for work, but it prepares you for life.
Okay.
And understanding people and how different people react to different things. Not everybody's the same. people are dynamic, so you have to be able to judge their understanding of what you're trying to relate to them, and I guess in layman terms, break what you're trying to describe to them in layman terms, or in terms in which they can understand.
Okay. And that must have been something that you had to do, being that you weren't originally from here. So you had to learn how to communicate with people in a different place.
Yeah.
Okay. So while you were there, what did you do for fun? Because I know you couldn't just sit in class all day and run track all day. You had to do something.
Fun for me was interacting with friends.
Okay.
I had one coach whose favorite saying to every athlete on the track team was "Stay off the cuts." For the old folks, they know what the cut is.
I was like, what does that mean?
The cut is that area that's right in front of where the bookstore is.
Okay. So, like on the Tiger Walk?
On the Tiger Walk.
Oh, okay.
Up on the Student Union building, that wall that goes down the little ramp.
The wall that...
There's a little short wall. There was a very short wall that used to be right in front of the bookstore, and students used to sit on that wall. And
oh, okay.
this coach used to always refer to it as a cut.
I know what you're talking about. You're talking about like the back stairs by where the trees and stuff are in the back, and there's the ramp that goes across the side of the building.
Not in the back where the tennis courts used to be. In the front, on the Tiger Walk itself.
Oh, okay.
So there used to be a very short wall that the students used to actually sit and relax and chill out.
Okay.
And his favorite thing for that was stay off the cuts.
And that's what you did. You did exactly what he told you not to do.
I didn't hang out there too often, but it was nice to actually get out there and interact
with other people. Gotcha. So that's, I guess, what you did for fun. What do you think that you enjoyed most about TSU?
The experience.
As a whole?
The experience of being at TSU. I wouldn't trade that for anything in the world.
I agree. Is there anything that you didn't like?
It was more enjoyment than anything else.
Oh, well, that's good. So I guess moving on to another part, while you were there, because it was a historically black college and it is predominantly African American, and this was the early 90s, did you experience any forms of discrimination while you were there?
Nothing happened on campus. Okay. I had a cousin who lived out in Pasadena, Texas, and I would visit him from time to time. I wouldn't call it discrimination, but I'd call it more bigotry.
Okay.
We were actually out walking the mall in Pasadena, and there was this little lady. She must have been in her late 80s, early 90s, and she's being pushed through the mall in a wheelchair by what we perceived to be her granddaughter. And as we passed, we heard her say the N-word. Okay. And our response back was somewhat of a diplomatic approach. That was I can honestly say that was the only form of discrimination. Or bigotry that I experienced.
But nothing generally on campus?
Nothing was generally on campus that was directed towards me.
Okay. Do you know if there was anything that went on campus, movements or anything like that, that attributed, or that, I guess, had anything to do with curtailing racism or promoting blackness or anything like that?
Being in the heart of the city, it would not be in the heart of the city if things did not happen on campus. Okay. There were student activist groups who, anything that happened, wanted to make sure that the student population knew about it. Anything that happened off the campus that was of an impact, not only to the campus, but to the city or to the nation at all. There were student body members who made sure that they brought attention to it. So I guess you can find that in just about any college throughout America or throughout the world, even. Okay.
So, being that you were at an HBCU, what do you think is the importance of HBCUs? Do you think there's a difference between an African American attending an HBCU versus attending PWI, a predominantly white institution?
It depends on the perspective you look at it.
Okay.
Some folks would stand up and say, we're teaching our own at an HBCU. Others would say, oh, you're just watering down the education. Honestly, not a T issue. The fact that it is an HBCU adds to it. It brings history back into it. They honestly, and this may be also true for other schools, but I had the sense that they genuinely cared for the student. It was not a case of, we're going to get you out of here just to get you out of here so the numbers look good. It was that they took a genuine interest in not only your education, but your well-being and where they wanted you to go to take your education. TSU not only taught you what was in the books, they taught you how to apply what was in the books.
And that's amazing. So, excuse me, had you not attended an HBCU, do you think, or TSU in general, do you think you would have gotten that same experience? Or do you think had you gone elsewhere, it wouldn't have been, as much nurturing?
That's a hard one to say.
Okay.
Because most of my college life has been at TSU.
Okay.
But it's hard. It's a hard one to actually judge and to call. Who's to say that I may not have gotten one from the other schools that were interested in me at the time.
Okay.
But would I want to go back in time and trade my education and my experiences at TSU? I don't think so.
Oh, that's great. Was there anything else that you wanted to mention about TSU or your experiences at TSU that we didn't cover?
I think we covered a full gamut of things, so I don't think there's anything else that would be of interest.
Okay.
To add.
Thank you for taking the time out to do this interview with me today. I really enjoyed talking to you and getting your perspective on what you experienced at TSU. But this concludes our interview.
Oh, thank you.